Hey y'all, I wanted to talk to you today about some torpedo grass, also known as Louisiana grass. It's taking over the Jackson, Mississippi metro area more and more every year, unfortunately. It's been in this yard for many years since I've been servicing it, and this is an example of a yard where the yard really is, it's a good sized yard, and it's just not economical to try to suppress it, make it disappear for a couple months, and then have it return later in the summer. So why am I talking to you about it? Why am I here at this yard? Well, number one, I want to show you what it looks like so that it doesn't take over, because one of the downsides of torpedo grass, forgive me for not being on the other side of the camera, I don't have my video people with me today. We're busier time of year, so we're going in more directions than normal. But I want you to be able to identify it as best you can, so that if you see it starting to come in your yard, your neighbor's yard, family's yard, it'll be good to catch it on the front end. So I don't think I said this yet, but if you'll notice at the end, and forgive my fingernail there, I smashed it with a hammer, so it's black a little bit. But it comes to a point and has a similar shape of a torpedo. Oh, that's a really good, right beside it is Bermuda grass, so you can see what kind of yard we're in. I actually laid out a stem, also known as a stolon, of each of them side by side over here. So you can see the torpedo grass looks a lot like the Bermuda grass. It's just that Bermuda grass is the miniature version. They're basically cousins, which is why it's so hard to get torpedo grass out of a yard, is because the same chemistry that might get rid of one grass will also get rid of the other grass, and that's not good. And so the only herbicides, weed killers on the market that can quote unquote control, it's really doesn't, they don't control, they suppress. So they make the torpedo grass disappear for a few months after you treat it. And I say a few months, I really mean 6 to 8 weeks. They make it disappear. The herbicides make the torpedo grass disappear for 6 to 8 weeks. So we usually start around July the 4th. And then, let's see, I'm gonna zoom in here to show you one more thing about what they look like. Around September, it'll be back. Maybe even mid-August, because like I said, 6 to 8 weeks later, it's going to be back. And so in most situations, it's just not worth it, because it is expensive herbicide, therefore an expensive treatment, more so than your normal weed treatment costs. And so if you can get after it when it first starts, and you're going to have to make little dead spots in the yard, because there is no eradication, only suppression. But again, if you want a characteristic to be able to identify it, oftentimes, if not most all the time, the ends of the blades are also going to be frayed after they're mowed. I don't know the exact reason for this. Obviously, it's a tougher blade, and so when the blades are going around and mowing the grass, it really catches the blade and rips it more than it cuts it. If you notice in St. Augustine yards, a lot of times, let me show you some more torpedo grass with that frayed look. You see how the tips, they're just all frayed. St. Augustine will look like this when the blades are dull, when your mowing blades are dull, and that just means your mowing blades need to be sharpened. If you see a lot of that whiteness on the edges of the leaves in the yard. Or it could mean that you have torpedo grass. They do have a similar leaf blade thickness. And so I hope that helps. And if you're ever concerned that you have some torpedo grass, obviously send us some pictures. By the way, if you ever do send us some pictures, as you can tell, sometimes taking a picture from far away can really be hard to know what it is, but a zoomed out picture, as well as a zoomed in picture with your fancy iPhones that most of you have now, if you can send us the structure of how the leaves, you know, if you can find a thinner area to where we can really see what the leaves look like, we can help identify. Obviously, if we can't tell from pictures, we're always happy to show up in person as well. But that's torpedo grass. Hope that helps. Let us know if you have any questions.